All right, guys, I'm back, and sheesh, I need a haircut. Pulling a pulling a Rudy, boys. So bit of a progress update. What am I doing right now? I am attempting to get a hold of some Assassin's Creed collector's boxes if I can. Um, Not really trying actively for it. Like if I can get them, I can get them. Something. So the unique thing with Fallout, right, is it was the decks and the collector boxes. That was it. There was no play box. The issue that I see happening with the Assassin's Creed boxes is I think they're going to hold, but I think they're going to do more like what Ixalan did, which is like release, dip, and then start going up over time slowly, and they'll kind of 250, 275, 300. They'll bump in that range eventually. What we have going on right now is just straight up FOMO, absolute fear of the world. It doesn't make sense. There's play boxes with this set. They're going to be there. It's going to hold the singles prices down. It's not going to artificially drive them up. So unless they're doing something super, super insane with the print run, super crazy serialized cards, they put like, I don't know, they put like the One Ring reserialized with 69ing your laundry and what, I don't, they do something super crazy that just makes everyone go bananas. And like the reprint value in the collector boxes is like just absurd, like $800 a box. I just don't see them spiking too heavily. And then those cards are also going to tank super hard, which is kind of like counter to what WotC's been doing for the past 6 months to a year now, which is not reprint the piss out of everything, much to my happiness. Big thing we need to talk about right now is foundations, right? So they are bringing back effectively core sets. This is a really good thing. The thing that we need to talk about is they're bringing back things like Land of War Elves, and it will be standard. Sorry, I got something in my eye. It will be standard for 5 years. And the interesting thing that we have now is what we have seen is the play boxes themselves have less commons in them. I purchased 1.7 million-ish commons and uncommons in that huge bulk lot with part of the expectation of I was going to be spending years recouping my money on this. Like I knew this wasn't going to be like a boom, I make back 50K, boom, I made 100K. Like I knew this was going to be like a multi-year long process to recoup my money and my investment out of this. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. That's what the piles and piles of cards are. Here, check this out. There's a whole stack right there. More to go through. Yeah, we're just rocking. We're rocking through stuff. But the interesting thing with these core sets is they're standard legal for 5 years. That means there's commons in these sets that are now going to be standard legal, and they're going to reprint very interesting cards back into standard, I think, which is going to cause some of these older cards from like Core 11, Core 20, Core 19, etc., these old staples that they had, mana dorks, things like that, they're going to come back into standard, which means people are going to need 4 of them in their deck, which means these are not going to be 1 penny cards anymore. They're going to be 50 cent, $1, even maybe $2 cards. You're going to see stuff like Ephemerate even climb up potentially if it gets printed into standard. I'm still going to sell a lot of mine just because at $3 a common, like I can't not. But the interesting thing in transition with this, right, is with these core sets being legal for so long, I think ultimately what this is going to do is it's going to enable WotC to print less commons in other sets and do more stuff like Fallout, where they focus on like uncommon rares and mythic rarity cards, and they foil print commons. You're going to get 4 commons in a pack versus like 7 in a play box, and they're just going to do entire sets like Fallout where they don't even do play boxes. They're just going to focus on the universes beyond for this probably. They're going to do play box, or not play box, they're going to do collector box and deck set only like Fallout. Fallout was the test run for that. They know that they're probably going to need to adjust the print run a little bit more than they did with Fallout, so you don't have $630 boxes within months of release. Like that's really, you don't want unobtainium, you want expensive tanium. You want to be able to, they want to be able to sell it on Amazon to you for $400 a box all day, every day, and just cash out hard, like biggie margins. That's what they want. So they're going to be doing this, and I think they're going to utilize these new foundation sets to effectively have an excuse to print less commons and do more Fallout-like sets. These foundation sets are also probably going to have things in it like the One Ring. We might even see stuff like, I don't know, like Force of Negation slapped in there. We're gonna see like something really spicy slotted into the mythic zones, just so those boxes hold a little bit of value, but they're still gonna be used to do like longevity reprints on certain cards that just are immune to like reprints. Like, for example, fetched lands or shock lands. Like, it doesn't matter how many times Wizards reprints those cards, they are going to be $10 to $20 cards forever. And like, whenever they stop printing them, they will steadily climb up back to 30, 40, 40 bucks. Like, it's just an inevitable life cycle of how those cards work. Like, they are just consumed by everyone. Everyone wants them. When they're cheap, they buy multiple copies to put into multiple decks, because why not? Like, if they have 50 bucks to spend on cards this week and they want to have a second green deck, they'll grab more fetch lands that are green. They'll grab more red fetches, more blue fetches. They'll grab more of whatever multiplier they need that's cheap. And if they're cheap, they will get absorbed, and supply is going to continually be absorbed that way. And we're seeing that happen now, even with certain cards and playables like Shocklands from Ravnica Remastered. They've been doing this and they've been testing this stuff, and we're going to see that again. Now, what does that mean for me from an investment standpoint? I will not be buying foundations on release, partway through release, halfway through release, at the end of the release. I will specifically look to acquire those boxes. So like, let's say the play boxes come out at $100. I will specifically look to acquire those at like that $50 to $60 range if they dip to like $75, $80, and I will then purchase a position of them at like $60 a box. My reasoning is, I think it is an okay acquisition at like $60, $70 a box, because long term, my net positives are unbelievably high at that price point. So I'm okay at that price point. At $100 a box, kind of iffy, right? Unless the reprints are just absolutely bananas, which I don't think they're going to do for a 5-year long set. They want it to be introductory. They want it to be simple. They don't want to do super complex cards that have sacrifice this to do this with this, combo that, sack this, stack this, one tap, do blah. They want simple stuff for these sets. They're supposed to be new players that have feel-good cards that are easy to play with, which is great. I love it. It means something that has new player bundles. You need that ability to take someone brand new and say, hey, here is a basic set. Let me show you how to play the game. Let's go grab a few packs. We can make a deck. Cost you 12 bucks. We're out the door. You have fun. That's what you need. So they're not going to overcomplicate those reprints. They're not going to put crazy stuff in there like that. Make this complex reprints. You'll see strong reprints probably in the mythic slot, so people have that hit, but you're not going to get like a ton of them. I don't think, anyway. They may blow my mind. They might reprint a ton of stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think they will. But from an investment standpoint, I think I've already done the correct things to plan for this and deal with this. Like, I knew like 2 years ago, Wizards could not continue to reprint 11 commons in every pack. Like, they were going to look to cut this at some point. So I was already evaluating 2 years ago, okay, how can I monetize bulk? Is this worth getting into? What should I do? How do I do this? What am I looking for? You know, it was already something that I was mulling about, thinking and planning on doing. And the big deal happened, and it kind of just, it lined up and fell into my lap the way it did, and everything worked out the way it was supposed to. So that was good. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like, Foundations is awesome. I think with the bulk that I have is going to continue to go up in price. That's why I have 200 more boxes of it to go through. And I think it's going to continue to be a strong purchase long term, kind of like what Core 11, Core 12, you know, all these other core sets did. Like, I don't see them going to $200 a box, but I see them easily climbing to like $130, $140. So if my buy price is like $60 to $70 a box, you know, I don't mind sitting on them for 5 to 6 years to, you know, 2x my money. Like, that to me is a very reasonable rate of return. If they go apocalyptic nuclear print mode and like it's just infinity boxes at ever, I'd have to reevaluate then, but that's kind of like where my thoughts are and plans are. Wait a few years, start looking for the deals as people sell their sealed collections, or stores buy out a store that has some. Those will be the price points and the way that I'll be looking to acquire that. I'm not going to be looking to acquire it for a mass opening. I just don't think it's going to be viable for that for a very long time. So I can divert capital elsewhere. Let's see, other sets that I'm tracking right now. Bloom Barrow's releasing, the Haunted Mansion set's releasing. Man, I feel like there's so many sets coming out in the next 6 months. I just don't know what. It's hard to keep up with all the new Magic sets, and like I don't know. I haven't been buying new Magic for a while, but like if I took like a metric of the last like 3 years, and I had bought like 12 collector boxes, 12 draft, and 12 set at the time, or 12 play now. And if I go back and look, and if I had done that consistently for every set, I think with the few sets that have recently climbed up, I would be like even / slightly losing money. Most of that would be coming from Fallout doing an absurd recovery at like, because I think cost on those was like 240, 250 a box, something like that. It was somewhere in the low 200s, I think. So, I would have been like up 350 a box after fees on those, so that would have been $3,500. That basically would have taken care of like Murders at Karlov Your Wallet, kind of recovered some of the damages from Forgotten Realms, kind of, Dominaria United's there, but Ixalan and some of these other sets would have, I would probably be down overall. So I think my approach of stop buying Modern Magic as a sealed investment was a smart move, because it allowed me to go divert my capital elsewhere into Modern Horizons 1, all the bulk collection purchases, Flesh and Blood sets. I'm opening up, I'm buying 600 plus boxes of Flesh and Blood now. I'm hoping to bump to 1,000 for Rosetta. There is a massive amount of volume now that I have been allowed to grow into, because I chose not to divert. Probably, gosh, there's like 10 sets. It would have been 2,000, about $3,500. So like 35 grand, 40 grand a year in Magic. So that's 120 grand in sealed that I would have had devoted and just sitting on shelves, just basically going flatlining like a dude having cardiac arrest. So it really was the right choice. I was able to spend the money on the bulk. I bought Flesh and Blood collections. I bought sealed stuff. I bought this. I bought graded. I bought all sorts of crap, and I have a massive amount of product now that is coming in and moving out. I have all the Magic Online sets still to go through. I still have probably, oh god, do I have almost 100 of those still? I might have almost 100 of those still at like $200 a pop, because those even started recovering. I started selling those to Card Kingdom in chunks. So I'm getting cash from that. I'm getting cash from the vaults that I had. Some of the stuff and from the vaults is climbing up now. Some of those vaults were like $20-$30 when I got them. Now they're like $40 and $50 because of the reprints, and people are like, "Oh my god, I need the cards." So like this is happening actively, and I would have been in a much flatter hole. Like I probably could have taken that 120k and sealed and like sold it all right now for 100k and gone and made some huge move. But like in retrospective, looking at like what I would be able to acquire right now versus the sealed, I would have significantly less stuff to process through, monetize, grade, add to my collection. Like I would have significantly less capital to play with because of that. So it's just I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to start buying Modern Magic sets again selectively. Assassin's Creed is one of them. I'm testing the waters if I can get them at cost. I'm not paying secondary market. I'm not buying them off TCG Player. I'm not buying them from MVP. If I can get them from distro through my connections at cost, I will pick up a 6-pack box of the Assassin's Creeds. I will probably sell 3 of them if they spike to $400+ a box, just simply to cushion myself on the product itself. But if I can't get them, I don't care. Like, not a big deal. It's whatever. I don't care. So that's kind of like where my mentality is. I think is like kind of like a quick review for the mental, right? Like Foundations is awesome. I'm wary of Assassin's Creed because there's play boxes, so I don't think it's going to have the same effect that Fallout did. Magic has so many sets released. Oh my god, there's so many sets coming out in the next 6 months. I stayed away from buying Modern Sealed, which saved my ass big time. Because yeah, I would have spent 120k. I'd probably have like maybe 100k in Sealed. Like maybe. Like if I was lucky, I'd have 100k in Sealed. I don't think it would be more than that. So I'd be down like 15, 20k, and then if I liquidated it, I'd have like, you know, I'd 80k, 85k maybe from someone who's like really eager to monetize it for the 10 grand that they'll make. Yeah, it's just so rough. So I'm glad I didn't do that, because just the bulk alone ran me like 45 grand. So I would have been over half of that. Modern Horizons was like 17 and change. So now we're at like 55, 62 grand. And then the other Magic collection that I bought, that was like another 17. So now we're already basically like 80 grand. And that's not even counting all the Flesh and Blood sets I purchased, all the singles and stuff from that. Like that, you know, just the Weiss that I didn't even count the Weiss and the Pokemon that I bought too. Like, oh my gosh. So I'm up like, God, like 70% on Pokemon now, I think. Like, if you guys want to see a video about that, I actually like charted it out. I can link up my chart and show you guys what I did and stuff. I priced everything out with like TCG Store credit. Like I took that away from it because, like, again, like I make money back buying it, etc. So if you guys want to see a video on like what I did with my Pokemon Sealed stuff, let me know. I have like, I think I'm pushing like 100 booster boxes now. It's nothing crazy. I don't have like Rudy levels of stuff, but like, you know, 100 booster boxes of Pokemon's, it's a lot of booster boxes of Pokemon still. But I have like, I think it's like 50 or 60 Sword and Shield booster boxes, something like that. It's like close, 40, somewhere in there ish. I have a 4-row of packs of Sword and Shield stuff from like side SKUs and stuff I've broken down now too. But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at right now, guys. It's a Monday. Video's going to go up late. I'm tired. Have a good day. Catch y'all for later. Bye-bye.